Okay, let's start our lesson. Today, inshallah, we will try to revise all the rules along with our last makharij, that is isnan, basically our deeds. Okay, let's start the lesson with the dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني علما اللهم فكهنا في الدين اللهم فكهنا في الدين اللهم فكهنا في الدين. Okay, so in our last class we were doing the lisan, which is our tongue, right? And from the lisan we tried to pronounce almost of the five, by using the five parts we tried to pronounce almost 7 to 8 letters, right? Along with that we have to pronounce 9 more letters that are going to be using our tongue and our teeth. So today we will learn the names of the teeth first, and then we will learn about how are we going to use these teeth to pronounce the letters from these ones. Okay. And when we were discussing, when we were discussing this part, the tarful lisan and the hafal lisan, we were not discussing their pronunciations. Like we never discussed the lam, noon, and dod in detail. How are we pronouncing these ones, right? So let's start with these two parts and then we will move towards adits. Okay. So let me repeat the whole lisan part so that if anyone has not heard that lesson or the recording, you guys can revise it along with us, and you can come to know about the lisan as well. So as we discussed, lisan is our tongue, right? And if I can draw the tongue for you guys over here. Yeah. So this is how our lisan looks like. This is the part that is attached with our throat, and this is the part that is close to our mouth or the teeth, right? And this is the front part. This is the rasul lisan, front part or the tip of our tongue, okay? And from here we pronounce the letter ra, and then we are going to use the same tip to pronounce 9 more letters today, okay? So the Rasul Lisan was pronouncing Ra itself without involving any letter, any teeth. Okay. Then we move towards the middle part that was used to pronounce the letters Jim, Sheen, and Ya, middle part as Wast al Lisan. And then we have the back of our tongue that is used to pronounce the heavier letters, and we call the back of our tongue as Aqsa, right? Just like in our throat, Aqsa halak, or in the tongue, Aqsa lisan, basically the back part of our tongue that is attached to our throat. This is going to pronounce two letters, Qaf and Kaf. Both are the letters that do sound similar, but one is a heavier one and the other one is a lighter one. So to pronounce heavy, you have to lift the back of your tongue a little bit upwards to make the sound heavier, and it's going to be more like a Q sound in English, cough. And when we talk about the letter calf, it should be with the lighter sound, that is with the K sound, right? Calf. Then we have two more parts. One was the sides along the middle of our tongue, that was tarf al-lisan, the sides beside the middle part. And it was used to pronounce two letters, lam and noon. So lam and noon are going to be pronounced if we are going to touch the sides of our tongue with the two teeth that are present beside our tongue. Let's discuss the teeth first, okay? Because lam and noon are going to be involving our teeth. I'm just going to remove all these things. Okay, so this is how our teeth look like. The upper palate and the lower palate both looks like the same, okay? Over here, if you can see, there are two green dots. These are our front two teeth, okay? So the front two teeth, we call them as sanaya ulya. Sanaya ulya as the upper front two teeth, the one that are visible when we smile, okay? These two teeth are going to be used up to be pronouncing 9 letters, but let's discuss them afterwards. Beside the front two teeth on both the sides, we have rubai. Okay, rubai is basically the one that are present next to our front two teeth on both the sides. This is rubai, and this one is going to be used to pronounce along with this rubai and along with the next one that is more like a pointed shape. Okay, this is rubai. Let me write it. It's 1 second. Okay, yeah, so this red color is rubai. And these two are sanaya ulya. Sanaya ul ulya. Sanaya ulya, like front two teeth. Okay, then we have rubai, and then we have anya. Then we have zawahik. Zawahik. Okay, zawahik or zawahik. So we are going to use the rubai and anya, and this is our tongue in between. Okay, the tip of our tongue is facing the front two teeth. Now we have to use the sides, basically this side, and we have to touch this side with these two teeth to pronounce the letter noon. You can touch this side to these teeth, or you can use this side to, and you can join it with these two teeth to pronounce the letter noon. Pronounce it and try to connect this part of your tongue to the teeth that are present next to them. Say it, noon, noon. You will feel that your specific part that is very closer to Rasul Lisan, but it is not Ras, it is the sides, right? It is these two sides connecting with the two teeth that are present right next to it, the rubai and the anya. Connect your tongue with these two teeth and pronounce noon, noon. And if you connect the part that is present more towards the middle of our tongue, and you start touching this part along with the one that is basically our first incisor. Zawahik is basically not the teeth, but the incisors. Like if we talk about it in Urdu, it would be like dar, your dar. Like we have teeth and then we have incisors, right? So teeth are till anya, like here, these are the teeth, and then we have the incisors over here. Okay, yeah, so these are our incisors, and the first one is the wahik. Okay, so if we join the zawahik and anyab and we touch this specific part, 1 second, let me just make it more clear. Okay, now this is our tongue, and we have to use the part that is closer to the middle of our tongue. Okay, this is the middle, and we have to use this part, and we have to connect it with our first incisor and the last teeth, and then we are going to pronounce the letter la. Connect the side of your tongue with the next two teeth, not the one that are present in three pairs. They are going to be more closer towards the back part of your tongue. Okay, the last teeth and the first incisor. You have to connect the middle, the sides that are closer to the middle of your tongue with these two parts, with these two teeth to pronounce the letter lam. And if you like connect the next part, or the part that is closer to the tip of your tongue, and you connect it with the second last and the last teeth, it will be pronouncing the letter noon. Lam, noon, and then use the tip of your tongue and fold it backwards, just behind your front two teeth. Fold it over here and then pronounce the letter raw. If you fold your tongue backward behind your front two teeth, the raw is going to be pronounced with a heavier sound. Okay, so this one was pronouncing the letter Jim, sheen, and ya without involving any of the teeth. And then the side that was present right next to it, along with the last teeth and the first incisor, it was pronouncing lam. Say it, lam. Now connect the part that is present before this one, the one that is more closer to your tip of your tongue, and now connect it with the second last and the third last teeth, like the rubai and the anya. And say it, noon. Pronounce it, noon. And then use the tip of your tongue and fold it backwards just behind your front two teeth and pronounce raw. If you're going to fold it backward, the raw is going to be heavier. Do you remember the raw is going to be pronounced heavier whenever it is having the harakas that always come above? These are fatha and the dhamma. Or if you talk about in other names, it's zabar and pesh. With these two harakas, the raw is always going to be pronounced heavier. Other than that, if we have the sign that is always present below the letter, that is kasra or zair, in that way situation, we are going to pronounce the raw with the lighter sound. Okay? Inshallah, by next class, we will be pronouncing the exercises with the fatha, dhamma, and kasra, and we will be practicing their right pronunciations in our next class. Okay? The lecture is going to be way less and the practice session is going to be more from our coming classes. So this is how we pronounce the letter lam, noon, and ra involving our teeth. Okay, let's discuss one more. Okay, so let me draw the tongue again. This is how our tongue looks like. Now the part that is present more closer to the back of our tongue, this part. What you have to do is you have to spread your tongue in between your incisors and you have to connect it with the three pair of our incisors and you have to connect it from both the sides to make the dod more heavy. We are going to pronounce the letter dod. It is a very heavy letter and you have to make it heavier by spreading your tongue, the back of your tongue, in between your incisors, or these are molars as well, a pair of three molars. Okay. This was a premolar and these were molars if you talk about the names of our teeth in English. So you have to spread your tongue in between your molars. You try to touch the molars from the back of your tongue and then pronounce the letter dod. When you do so, the dod becomes more heavier. Say it, dod. Spread the tongue in between both the sides. Dod. So these were the letters that we have discussed in our previous class, but we didn't discuss them with our teeth. So today we have learned the names of the teeth and we just studied how we are going to pronounce the dod heavier by spreading it, the lam by connecting the sides with our last and first incisor and the teeth, and then noon by connecting it beside the front two teeth, right? And then the raw right behind our front two teeth by rolling our tongue backwards. Okay. Now we have to discuss a pair of it's like three groups having 9 letters. We have 3 letters that are going to be pronouncing the whistling sounds. So last time when we were having the class, some of anyone commented that there was a question that how are we going to teach our kids with the simple sounds and the heavier sounds? So I want to clear it right now again that we don't have only 2 pairs of the letters, the simple sounds, the lighter sounds, and the heavier, but along with that we do have the whistling sounds. So today inshallah we'll be discussing the whistling sounds as well. For pronouncing the whistling sounds, what we have to do is we don't only have to use the upper front 2 teeth, along with that we have to connect them with the lower 2 teeth as well. Okay, so we have the letter swad, then za, and then sin. These 3 letters are with the whistling sound. Okay, it's a whistling sound for these three letters. The sound of the sword and scene might seems similar, but the sword is a heavier letter, and then the scene is a lighter one. Okay, and the za is with the more stronger voice. So you have to pronounce sword, za, scene by joining the upper and the lower front two teeth, and you have to use the tip of your tongue, and you have to connect it in between. Okay, one second, let me just clear it. Okay, let's draw over here the let's change the color first. Okay, these are our front upper two teeth, and then these are our lower front two teeth, right? You have to connect them just like we pronounce the letter Z. To pronounce the letter Z, we join the upper and the lower front two teeth, right? Along with that, what we have to do is we have to connect the tip of our tongue in between. The ra'sul lisan. You have to use the ra'sul lisan, the tip of your tongue, and you have to put it in between the connecting upper and the lower two teeth. And then you have to pronounce swad, za, sin. Pronounce it that way. Join the upper and lower front two teeth, and then put the tip of your tongue in between. Touch over here, and then say sword. And to pronounce sword, lift your tongue a bit more upwards. Sword, sword, and then za. Za is more like a za sound. It should be very stronger, not like the letter zal. Zal is a softer sound. It's more a gentle sound. Okay. Za should be pronounced with more of a stronger sound. And to pronounce it more strongly, you need to connect the upper and lower front two teeth. Okay? Say za, and along with that, sin. All these three letters make a whistling sound. Sod, za, sin. Okay? This is one group with the whistling sounds. Now we have one more group that is the pronunciation for this group clear to you guys? Should we move towards the next group? What about others? Okay, perfect. Let's do the next group. The next group is more easier. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to use only front two teeth that are with the upper palate, like the upper front two teeth. Okay, what you have to do is you have to use the ra'sul lisan again, your tip of your tongue, and you have to connect it with the roots or the middle of your front two teeth over here or maybe here, and you have to pronounce the letter to. Connect the ra'sul lisan, the tip of your tongue, and connect it with the roots or the middle part of your front two teeth. To, dal, ta. Make the to heavier to make it different from the letter ta, because ta is going to be with more of a lighter sound. Okay? Say it. To, dal, ta. To, dal, ta. Pronounce it and feel how are you pronouncing it. Are you connecting the tip of your tongue with the roots or the middle of your front two teeth? Say it again. If you're not doing it that way, try to connect it. Try to connect it and then feel it. If you're doing it just by connecting the tip of your tongue with the roots, in that way, you would be pronouncing it with the right pronunciation. Okay? And don't forget to make the twa with the heavier sound and tha with the more of a lighter sound. Okay? Say it. To, dal, ta. This is the second group. Okay? Now we have the third group, and third group is going to be using again the same teeth, upper front two teeth, but now what we have to do is we have to connect the tip of our tongue with the tips of the front two teeth. Okay, you have to connect the tip of your tongue with the tips of your front two teeth, and you have to pronounce dha, dhal, tha. dha, dhal, tha. Only if you're connecting the tip of your tongue with the tip of front two teeth, that way you're going to pronounce the zal with the more of a gentle sound. If you start connecting the lower two teeth as well, this will make the za sound that is more of a stronger sound. And that is a whole separate letter, right? So za should be stronger, involving both the upper and the lower teeth. But zal is ending with an L sound that is more gentle, and it is going to be gentle when you are going to use only the front upper two teeth. Okay? Say it. Dha, dhal, tha, tha. If you're going to connect the the tip of your tongue with the tip of the front two teeth to pronounce the sa, it's going to be more different from the seen. Okay? Why? Because seen is going to be sounding different when we join the upper and lower front two teeth. You have to understand the pronunciations, because if we don't understand the pronunciation, from where are we pronouncing it, that's why we make the differences and the wrong pronunciations in the Holy Quran. Because you might have heard so many of your fellow members or friends when they are pronouncing or they're reciting the Quran, you can't really understand from their voice, are they pronouncing the letter swad over here or the sin. Some say like sirat al-lazina an'amta, but it's not sirat, right? It should not be with the C sound. C sound is for the letter sin, right? But it should be sirat al-lazina. Why? Because sirat is with the swad, making the way. Sirat basically means the way, right? The path. If we are going to change the swad with the sin, the meaning is going to be changed. So we have to be very careful. Or it says وَمِنَ النَّاثِ. If you are going to say nathi, it means you're changing the scene with the tha. What we are doing is we are not connecting both the teeth, upper and lower. And when we don't connect them, the scene is going to be changed to the tha sound. And that is wrong, because it changed the word nas, which means people in English, to nathi, which is a whole different letter, a whole different word with a whole different meaning, right? This is why the pronunciations and the correct origins of the letters are very important to be understand. So you have to understand all the letters with their pronunciations. We have done all the letters over here. Let's move towards the qaida. Let's have all the letters written in front of us, and then let's pronounce them from there so that we can see if we know the pronunciations of all of them or not. And we will be revising each and every one. Okay? Let's just remove all the things from the screen and move towards qaida. Okay, over here, this is the qaida. All the Arabic letters from alif till ya. Let's pronounce each and every one. Just give me a moment, okay? I have to put my laptop on charge. Okay, so this is our qaida. And over here, we have all the letters. We are going to pronounce each and every one. Let me pronounce them first so that I can explain each and every makharij for you guys, okay? So in our next class, it's going to be you guys pronouncing these letters for me. So you have to understand it very carefully. And if anyone is having any question, you can make it so that we can clear confusions over here, okay? So let's pronounce from the very first one. We have alif. And alif is going to be pronounced from our oral cavity, which is present right above our tongue, right? Ajawf ad-dahan. Jawf ad-dahan, basically the oral cavity in English. You have to use the oral cavity, basically the part that is present right above your tongue, to pronounce alif. Then we have the letter ba. Ba was pronounced from our lips, right? Ba.